So you can see that there's a real strategic driver from the UK government to actually make this happen. And to enable that to happen, they've put some resources to it. I thought you'd be interested in the sorts of things that are spinning out of local government. So, you know, I'm certainly not going to read them all. I think there's some very interesting ones there, certainly things, and the one I'm particularly interested in, of course, is children in need, and you'll hear a bit more about that in a while. But that gives you a sort of overview, really, of some of the services that are beginning to spin out of public sector. A lot of research, a lot of action research carried out around what this is looking like. Because it's all right to have a policy driver, that's okay. But what does that look like and how is that translating at a local level? If we've got a central government who are very, very keen to devolve you know, that local accountability, then it needs to be looking at what difference it's making. So certainly from the research that they've undertaken, they've seen some service improvements. And what's very interesting there is that they talk a lot about client, user, whatever terminology you use, engagement with the service. So what are the customers, the people that use the services, what are they saying? Is it a good service? And what the feedback they're getting is that there has been some service improvements. Obviously, one of the key drivers will always be savings and efficiencies. This is one of the things that's preempted this drive to move things out of the public sector into different vehicles for delivery. There's a lower absentee rate. It was interesting, again, a colleague this morning, I think, picked up on, and I've certainly spoken to people who have got social enterprise organisations, and there is a lower absentee rate, reduced staff turnover, and high growth and additional contracts. This one's really interesting. Lots of funding that is available in the UK is not available to the public sector. And that goes back to this argument of, well, actually they've got all the money, so why would we fund them to do activities? So there are a range of charitable trusts in the UK that would not consider giving money to the public sector. But what they will do is fund community interest type activity, voluntary sector trusts. So what they've seen is what it enables these organisations to do is to attract funding from a wider range of opportunities, as opposed to a heavily reliance on public sector and the public purse. This just gives you an overview of, you know, where they see that going. I certainly will not go through this in great detail, but I think just another way in which they describe some of the benefits of this particular programme. Okay, so what they thought about was this mutual support programme, and Thurrock has been engaging with that programme. So Thurrock have been involved in website and callback. A number of staff in Thurrock have been on the mutual success training, which really gives a greater understanding of what does the governance look like, what's the legal structures. One of the key things that this is around staff engagement, and the absolute key question for staff is, what's the impact on me? What about my pension? What about my salary? What about my sickness absence that I currently have? So one of the things we've been looking at is what that structure will look like. So that's certainly what the mutual success training did. They then offer, if they believe that you've got a good offer or a good opportunity to make a difference locally, because actually this is all about making a difference. This is about changing lives. And in our particular example, it's about changing the lives of young people. Now, for those who visited Thurrock, we've got some of the largest regeneration programmes across the country. But what we've got is a real skills mismatch. So we've got a range of opportunities and not the right skill base. So what we're absolutely committed to is ensuring that our young people get the right skills to able to get those jobs, and we're very clear about that, and we believe that's a key driver for us locally. So Thurrock is at this stage. We've just applied for the spin-out support. We're waiting, so we're waiting to see whether or not we've been successful. If we are successful, it will enable us to gain some extra support on thinking about the business plan and the legal structures and the terms and conditions for staff and all of those things that are going to make this happen and make it a positive for Thurrock in general. And then if that all goes through, there is this going for growth. So I think actually the UK government have recognised at a strategic level how they can help public sector continue, albeit in a very different way, with a very, very different landscape of how that's going to be developed. That's the contact details. If you are interested, I would really recommend you go on to the sort of UK Neutrals programme. It's got a wealth of information. It really sort of outlines all the things that the UK government are looking to do. Mark at the Cabinet Office would be more than happy to talk to anybody. As I say, they do send apologies for today. Unfortunately, they're caught with going out and speaking to local authorities about these opportunities. But he is keen to hear from anybody who may be interested in accessing or thinking about, or how can you lobby your governments? What are your governments doing about this issue? Are these types of programmes available in other European countries? What's the learning we could have from that? What's the sharing we could have of that? So they're very keen, and as I say, if you do want to contact, please do. Okay, I'll pause for a moment. We now need to, sorry, we've got the other presentation? Is there someone? No? Okay, let's see. There's one bit after that, so sorry. These skills, unfortunately. I'm not where they need to be. Nice one. You're just going to have IT? I'm certainly down. Okay, so that gives you the strategic perspective. What I'm now going to speak about is what we're doing locally. So that's okay at strategy level. Yeah. What are Thurrock doing? So Thurrock are working on establishing a social enterprise that will spin out. We've done some significant work around that. I'm certainly not going to go through all these slides. Please do those at your leisure and come and speak to me sort of during the breaks and sort of this evening if you're interested in what we're doing. I'm actually going to move aside, if I may. Talks about what we're doing, talks about some of the threats. Interesting what you said about threats actually, because we've seen some of those as well. What's the threats to establishing this new organisation? But what I'm really delighted to say is we see a whole wealth of opportunities. There are a whole range of opportunities locally, and we really believe that we can make this happen, but we won't make it happen if we haven't got young people's involvement, if we haven't got staff engagement, all of those things. So that will give you an idea of opportunities. We've worked with our youth cabinet and so forth. Right, I want to pause for a moment. We're in the process of deciding what we're going to be called. Really exciting. It's amazing actually, how complicated finding out what you're going to be called is, because you sort of go away with ideas and so forth. So just as a show of hands, I said I needed your help, just as a show of hands, I'm just going to say top one, sort of top, middle, bottom, just a show of hands what people like. I'm giving you 2 minutes just to look, and just look at it. This is work done by young people. This is young people's work around what this organisation should be called. So I'll be very interested in what your view is. Yeah? About 2 minutes, 1 minute? What have I got?
2 minutes.
Right, I'm coming back then. So, show of hands, quick straw poll, that's all I'm doing. Top one, achieve. Who likes achieve? Okay, thank you. Right, middle one, inspire. Who likes inspire? Oh, okay, interesting. Right, and what about the bottom one? Who likes destiny? Oh, I think it's inspire. What do you reckon? Okay, just ahead, inspire. Thank you for that. So I wanted to involve this group in thinking about that. Do think about the services that you are providing. There are a wealth of opportunities, and one of the things I say, if we doing nothing for Thurrock is not an option. We've been through the cheese slicing, the salami we call it, the salami slicing, we've done all that. We're now back to some very, very difficult targeted reductions. If we do nothing, there will be no services for young people. And that cannot be right, given the opportunities that we've got locally. Thank you.
Quickly, little one of the person while she's sort of changing, the other person's coming up. It's you. It's you. Well, while he's setting up, if anyone has a very short, quick last question, they can shoot it. But if not, he won't.
You talked about these gains of these mutual products, like this decreased absenteeism. And I was wondering, are these like is this the theory or are these actually results?
That's actual results.
Okay.
And actually, you'll have a real life example in a little while. We'll be able to really say, you know, it's not just what I'm